Hello and salutations, it's me, Salty, and here I am again with another 2 Cents Toys review. Today we're talking about the Marvel Legends Hydro Man. I picked this up at my local GameStop, and you can too, for $22.95 before tax. I pre-ordered it like I did the whole wave. The whole wave is on its way. For some reason only a couple of mine showed up at once, but you know, that's the way that it goes sometimes. And I was so looking forward to this figure. I love translucence, and me and Hydro Man go way back. So, looking at the box, as you can see, we get the figure, we get the waters down by his feet, and we get the Molten Man head sculpt. And that is all that we get in the box. I say all as if the figure isn't huge, but that's what we get in the box. And on the side of the box, we can see that this art is the exact same as it is on the back of the box. And here we also get a picture of the line, which is a pretty strong Spider-Man line, I think. And then we also get a small bio about Hydro Man himself. I'll go into a little bit more detail than that. So the background on Hydro Man. His name's Morris, or Maury Bench. He first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 212 in 1981 by Dennis O'Neil and John Romita Jr. His backstory was that he was essentially knocked overboard while an experiment was going on by Spider-Man after he fought Namor, and that gave him the ability to turn his whole body into water, interact with other fluids, absorb powers via the water, all kinds of crazy stuff. And then the Hydro Man I know is from the animated series, where his background is similar but different. He was enlisted in the Navy when it happened. They were running their own experiment. He just fell overboard. Spider-Man wasn't really involved. Why he didn't like Spider-Man, though, was that he was madly in love with Mary Jane. He was her ex-boyfriend, and he saw Spider-Man as competition. You know, he was completely incensed, enamored, obsessed with Mary Jane. So the reason why I give you that background is not only is it because that's a Hydro Man I'm familiar with, it's because I firmly believe that this figure is based off of the 90s animated series toy and not necessarily the comic books. If you look at how he appears in the comic book, his pants are green, and he's wearing blue jeans as a figure, which I know seems kind of silly until you see the animated series figure, which, weirdly enough, has blue jeans, black t-shirt, and no skin on his arms. They're just the water arms. And then he's also wearing brown boots and has some, water to keep him standing upright. So, in my mind, it makes sense. I think they're starting to dip their toes into that whole, that Toy Biz line that for the Spider-Man animated series. So that's why I give you that background. So with all that, we're going to go ahead and get him out of the box. We'll go over articulation, sculpt, and paint, and all that stuff. So here we have Hydro Man out of the packaging, and again, let me apologize for the wind. It died down a little bit, but it's still kicking up every once in a while. There's not much I can do about that. But I am enamored with this figure. You know, I love translucence, and I had the Toy Biz one as a kid, and that's one reason I got him. So I'm going to try and be as non-biased as possible in this review, but if I start giving sympathies because of nostalgia, feel free to call me out. But we'll start with the water base down here at the feet. They're kind of like the green ones that came with Mysterio, because he's top heavy, so it's hard for him to balance on his own. He can stand without these, but they add a nice layer to him, give him a little something extra. But they're soft-ish. They're mostly firm, so they're not going to, squish or fall apart or fall off of him. But like I said, he can stand without them. It's a chore to get him to balance, because the arms are so heavy. So you got to kind of mess with the torso. You got to mess with the knees a little bit. Eventually, you'll get him to stand on his own, but he won't stand like that for long. He will fall over like that. But anyway, we'll start with articulation after that. So with the head, of course, he can look up pretty far. He can bury his chin. He gets a little bit of shift here in the neck, and he gets a decent amount of tilt for a Marvel Legend. So, and that brings us down to the arms, which is the one problem area. So shoulders can come up past 90, as you can see. Rotate 360, no problems, as is standard. And there ends the articulation in the arms. basically. You get this small little cut at, I guess that's the bicep or forearm, maybe? I don't know what you would call that. It rotates 360, but that's all the further you're going to get when it bends. And then when it goes back, it's not going to bend backwards at all. The wrists have a deeper cut, but they can't go back very far. They can bend in, and of course they rotate 360. They run into this though, so you do get some resistance, and the hands can pop out, but I'm not sure why you'd want to. Alright, torso, he can bend forward, he can bend back quite a bit. His ab crunch is set a little low compared to normal Marvel Legends, but I'm not going to complain about that. Waist swivel, he can kick forward, he can not kick back at all, he can kick out really far for a Marvel Legend, he's got that thigh swivel. Double jointed knees come almost all the way up, and then for the ankle, he's got an ankle pivot, forward, back, forward-facing rocker. So, you know, pretty standard articulation in this part of him, but for the arms, it's very limited. But I'm trying to think of why water would bend at the elbow. I mean, I guess. But that brings me back to my theory about this being based on the 90s animated series Hydro Man. And I think that's why the arms are the way they are. So moving on to the sculpt, the wrinkles in his shirt are fantastic. Like, they look real. There's some subtle ones that are very small, and the deep wrinkles. I mean, you can tell that it's a different type of plastic. It's kind of a matte finish and a gloss finish here. But the sculpt on the jeans is great. Like, there's a lot of detail. There's the seam. You can see the zipper area. You can see the pockets. All these wrinkles down here at the boots. The only weird thing is kind of the boots. They look a little strange just because the sculpt kind of stops at the ankle. It just becomes kind of just a ball. But you're not really going to see that with the, you know, the water on anyway. So, and in terms of paint, I didn't have any paint bleed really anywhere other than, you know, right here where the boots meet the jeans, but nowhere that you're going to see anyway. Like here on the face, there's no bleed. The wrinkles on his face are fantastic. The hair is great. I think he looks a little bit like Willem Dafoe though, but you know, that's my opinion. And I don't know, I'm impressed overall with this figure. So the weight in the arms is a little bit annoying, and that's about it. I can live with the limited articulation in the arms, because as you can see in these photos, he poses great anyway. Like, surprisingly well, I think. And the sculpt is fantastic, and you know, I'm kind of blown away. He fits in with all my Spider-Man villains. He looks the part, and it just, you know, I love this figure. I'm really glad I picked it up. He's the one I wanted the most out of the whole wave, except maybe the MCU Mysterio, because I love the way that sculpt looks, and the fishbowl looks great on him. So, anyway, I hope you're enjoying these photos here that I've taken. I loved posing him. I thought it was great. And let me know what you'd like to see next. Reference back on the video I posted about the channel update, or, you know, I've got this photo here of all these Marvel Legends I picked up at my local GameStop. So drop a comment down below. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and I'll make it happen. Don't forget to follow us on social media over at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And show me how you feel with your thumbs. Like the video, dislike the video, and tell me why in the comments. And like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for stopping by. Until next time, I'm Salty, signing off.